Tell us a little bit about like what was that epic vision that you had and where has it taken you?
Well, okay. Let's start from LA then.
Welcome to another episode of Epic Mind Visions. Today I have my great friend Marz5D with me. I've known Mars for I don't even know how many years. It's been a long time, brother. And I feel
Lifetimes.
underdressed because he's just always in this 5D mode. And I've always just loved to follow him and see what he's doing. He's doing amazing things with music. He's a multi-talented artist. He's an amazing singer, visual artist, as you can see. And he's always pushing the boundaries of his comfort zone, of other people's comfort zones, of consciousness and expansion in general. I'm so stoked to have you here, my brother Marz5D. Thank you so much for joining us here on Epic Mind Visions. I can't wait to chop it up with you.
Funk, yeah, brother. It's wonderful to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
back at it again.
We're back at it again. It was really serendipitous or kind of wild. It was 5D how we met. You remember that day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Lead us into it though. And
Well,
I'll
I
just,
was at a that was back when I was just exiting the matrix. I was starting to wake up a little bit,
yeah. In
and
LA. Yeah.
at this event at a place called Perch in LA.
Oh yeah.
And it was an event for
On
a
the
kid
roof, on the
on the
rooftop in
roof, yeah,
downtown. Yeah. Yeah.
out downtown.
Great spot. Yeah.
Yep. And so I was doing my whole matrix thing with all these lawyers and everything. And I got to the elevator and there was Mars standing there with a friend of his. And on the way out, they had given us a bouquet of flowers.
Oh
So yeah,
yeah.
remember that?
I
And
do.
so
That was
the
a
way
whole
this building
period.
is set up,
Yeah.
because it's a very old building in LA, as you go from the roof elevator down to another level, and then
Yeah.
you go to the main elevator to get down to
Yeah.
the ground floor. And so we're standing at the top level and everybody else got in the elevator. There wasn't room. So we're standing there, we start chatting. Then we get down to the next level, same thing. So we had a little bit of time to connect and it was an immediate resonance.
Yep.
It was like, I
Womp.
want to know this dude. Like this is
Harmony.
so cool. So we get down to the bottom. I give him and his friend a couple of flowers and we connected on social media and all of that. And he kind of told me a little bit about what he was doing. And then I just continued to follow his journey from there ever since. And I mean, when that,
Then
as I
yeah.
recall, was probably around 2014 is my guess.
It
Maybe.
would have it would have been at least 16.
Oh, would it?
That's when I
Probably.
moved to LA.
Okay.
When I became a Lalian, you know,
Oh,
a Lalian,
lately.
yeah, a DT Lalian actually downtown.
Okay.
But I do remember that you came back around at the funk show that I
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
that
At the
was such a trip
Sofitel.
because at the time I wasn't playing music out. But I was painting and was doing the lighting. But I hooked up with a guy named Phil Lassiter who used to play with Prince, and he had his own band, a funk band, and he was looking for something funky to for their visuals, right? So I made them look like the Martian Circus before the Martian Circus. So they were like a precursor. We did them all in t-shirts and the big backdrop and everything. It was
Right.
at
At
one of the
Sofitel.
hotels, yeah, Sofitel, and you came out to that, and that was super funky because I was dressed up in my suit, my 5D suit. It was the first 5D suit, and I went up on stage and introed the band, and it's such energy. I was like, wow, I haven't actually been on stage in like a decade, other than playing the lights, you know. And here we are, like, I've got my art, I was like leading the band. I got them starting, and then I had to leave because it wasn't my band. So it
Right.
was like this weird little bit of false start, but it was like kind of an intro to what was coming. And for you to be part of that loop was really beautiful,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
because
that's
then
amazing.
the
I had no
shutdown happened right
idea.
after that, you
Yeah,
know,
I had no idea that you hadn't been on stage in 10 years or
at
anything like
least,
that.
at
Wow.
least.
I
Yeah,
thought you
other than
guys were
playing
a
lights.
cohesive band that had
Oh,
played
yeah.
together all the time and all of
No,
that.
I had just met Phil at NAM just a few weeks before that, he came over. We got down, and I even painted his hands, and we made a poster for him with his hands all painted, and it was like filthy funk. Um,
Awesome.
but anyhow, that's wonderful to. And then
I have some videos somewhere in the archives from that. If I can find them,
that'd be
I'll
fun.
splice them in here to the
Yeah.
yeah, so people can see what that was like. That was an amazing show.
So that was a nice little timepiece, right? Like a time capsule. It was sort of like a stepping stone between sort of my more 3D life. You were talking about 3D life, where I was still pretty 5D because I was dealing in energy. I was playing lights for concerts for lots of
Right.
different artists, right? And sort of co-channeling with them, tapping into the field with like people like Erica Badu, for example, playing their lights and just like tuning in, right? So that was my transition from that over to Martian Circus, where we're doing this fully channeled experience, with cosmic contact, with visionary art. Speaking of epic mind visions, I mean, it is visionary art, it's
Yeah.
visions of the fifth dimension and bringing that energy to people.
Well,
Um,
you've applied that in so many different ways to clothing. I bought an amazing shirt for a really good friend of mine for his birthday
that's
that
right.
you
Yeah.
painted, and then I have
Yes.
also another portal that
You
you
got a portal?
painted with the glasses. I have one of those.
Yep.
It's in my house in
That
a
was special
frame.
too, because that was part of the 20 portals in 2020
20 portals in 2020.
for $20. It was a
Right
2020
there, you go.
special we ran when we were like in hibernation or whatever, I
Yeah,
painted that on the
right.
farm actually. So when we did that over Zoom, that was so wild. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
you have it?
of course, I don't
Yeah,
have it here because I'm not at my place. I'm in
yeah.
Houston, but uh,
Okay,
yeah, I do have it, and it's in a frame in my house, and
awesome. Collector's
pretty
item.
cool. Collector's
Yeah,
item. But we've
yeah,
been kind of like, our energy's been interacting for years and years now. I thought
yeah.
it was earlier than 2016, but I guess not. I don't know what that event was. That was from like before
Some
for
business
me, but
mixer or something. I used to
when
hang
you
out up there quite a bit. It's a great to get a vantage
it's
point,
beautiful. Yeah.
of a higher ground, right? I mean, which is also a great metaphor for ascension and consciousness expansion, right? You get up, you see where you've been, where you want to go. It's great perspective,
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
but
And
and
then
it's
not
just
long after that, you bought
beautiful.
the RV. Now, the
Oh
RV,
yeah, the
you'll have to
mothership.
tell the story of this epic journey that you've taken in this RV. Because I remember when you were painting it and getting it
Yeah,
ready and everything.
yeah.
Is it the same RV that you have now that you started with? And tell us a little bit about like what was that epic vision that you had when you
Mm.
started with the RV and where has it taken you?
Well, okay. Let's start from LA then.
Okay.
When I met you, I was living in an apartment downtown that I called the mothership, right?
Right.
And sort of the same similar energy of the factory, with in New York. Do you know who I'm referring
Yeah.
to?
Right. Right.
Campbell Soup guy. What's his name?
Warhol.
Andy Warhol. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, what'll I be remembered for? We'll wonder in 100 years from now. Anyhow, so yeah, nod to Andy. Yeah. So with that, the apartment was called that, and it was a hub. The idea was to bring people there for consciousness expansion, for parties, for the energy, for the art, um, for the music. And then when 2020 happened and I left, I ended up with this RV with a partner of mine that I had at the time, and we fled in that. It was like this escape from LA getaway vehicle, go live on a farm in the middle of
Right.
California, just like insane. I mean, I really bought into the fear for a while. But we got into this escape pod. We went and lived on a farm in this RV, and we're out there, and I'm like, okay, well, we can't just be isolated. After a while, it just started opening up. And I realized, okay, this vehicle can be a vehicle for success, and it can be a pod to show the 5D concept. So the 5D art concept that you see here, the vibrancy, the glasses, but the energy. So we painted the whole thing inside and out. And every time we met people and brought them in, or even just met them on the street, we would have them paint on it, like write a nice message. So we ended up going all over the place with that, all up and down Cali. We ended up in Utah at one point for a festival, Vegas. We were in Sedona for a while with it. Um, and that was the mothership too, right? And that became like a really powerful experience, especially in 2020, because people wouldn't even look you in the eyes. Like they
Yeah.
were scared to even like they would
Yeah. If
walk.
you if you
You
cough,
cross the road even. You're
yeah,
coming. I'm gonna go on the other side of the road. I don't want to come anywhere near.
you would get a
Yeah.
stare if you
Oh,
like cleared your throat. It was
oh
like,
my God.
oh,
Yeah. Terrible. The fear that we had, but like what an experience, what a like a contrast, But anyhow, to have that and be kind of wild, right? Like to be like super colorful and wild, and I had a horn on the side, like we get all kinds of smiles, a couple dirty looks, but mostly smiles as we rode through town, right? We really felt like aliens, because it's like people either saw us and were like really saw us, or we were invisible, because that's how the frequency works, right? You only
yeah,
see what you're in resonance with,
right.
right? You can only experience what you're in resonance with. So anyhow, that kind of evolved into this experience that we brought to the deserts in LA and some of the parties, which became Martian Circus, where the RV was like the focal point, and it was the stage, and we were sort of living out of it, but also DJing in front of it, you know. And then
Hmm.
we brought a tarp out, and then some small tents, and like started painting people and painting the floor, and just this expression, it's just like started pouring out of us, like the it was very surreal. I mean, as you can see, yeah. Uh, yeah, this is a velvet rope, because we like to treat everyone like a VIP, can also be a connection point,
Right.
But that then turned into like more developed experiences at places like Lightning in a Bottle Festival, which we we had our stage there for 3 years in a row. Just amazing, amazing. Thousands of people just coming, and every day we're hearing from them. Like it's become such a community, and now now we're going to be taking this on the road. Last year we did a handful of shows. It was really wonderful, of our own. Headline shows in like Phoenix at Walter Warehouse. Have you ever been there?
I've never been there.
It's such a funky place. It's a burner venue. Love burn. Not love burn, but Burning Man kind of people.
Hmm.
Uh, but anyhow, this year we're taking our Starship, so it's a new vehicle now. We haven't fully retired the mothership, but we're developing a Starship. So it's a stage, whoop, and a trailer, and we're going to be able to pop that up all over the country. And
Wow.
we're now going to play for families, of all ages, and get out there and really expand the consciousness, and have the best time. We want people to have the best time, you know.
That's amazing. Well, from everything I've seen on social media of you posting people's, reactions and interactions from the
Yeah,
people
all
who
kinds of.
experience you, it's just incredible. People love it, right? They
They
love,
become a part of it.
yeah, they become a part of it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interactive. It's like experiential art, if you will.
yeah,
When you
yeah.
just create that environment, obviously you're so engaging, and all the art just flows out of you. And to give
E-
other people that opportunity to break the daily routine of what or their thought processes or whatever, and get completely pulled out of that and into
mhm,
your world, this
yeah.
5D
Break the
Martian
loops.
world is, yeah, it's incredible.
They become not only part of the art, but they're like in the painting. I wanted
Right.
to immerse people as much as possible, so we paint the clothes too. So they're wearing the clothes, they're in the environment, they're getting the basked in sounds, right?
Right.
We play dance music, live electronic dance music with live instruments, and then we really love to cap our shows with a sound bath, and that's
Mm,
when it gets really cosmic. That's when we really integrate, and people will be flattened on the ground, just like zoned out of body experiences, all kinds of stuff. Really
right.
amazing. Like, and I'll channel light language.
Hmm.
uh, for them, and all kinds of messages come through. It's really like an amazing. We've seen UFOs during our shows, all kinds of things. It's
Awesome.
amazing. Yeah,
Right.
we're
Yeah.
preparing the world for open contact in our way.
Well, I was gonna ask what is your version or vision of 5D that you see for the world? Like you have so many talents that were gifted to you in this incarnation,
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
you're an amazing singer. I've heard you sing multiple times. You're an amazing singer. So to be able to bring that sort of frequency and resonance to the broader perspective of your art is amazing. But how do you define 5D? What does this mean for people who are maybe they see a piece of it, they see some thread of it, but they don't quite see the whole picture?
Um, 5D is who we who we really are. It's sort of like if you put on a glove, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you look at that glove, maybe like a sock puppet, right? And you see that there's five fingers, right? They're moving around, right? That's great, but you've forgotten that there's more of you. You see what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So
Yeah.
so if the hand is like your life, your body, your persona, your ego, right? Your yourself that in this container. Your soul is like the rest of you, the 5D, the expanded version, the higher self, um, the sort of puppet master, in a way, the animator, the energy, really. If we could just simplify and just say that 5D is the energy, right? That animates this whole machine here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we'll create paintings like this of vibrations, right? To remind us that on a subconscious level that we are a vibration before we're any of this matter. In fact, as I'm sure you know, this isn't even solid. You get in
Right.
there. This is
Yeah.
mostly space and vibrations moving. You know, so
Right.
what is they're not moving randomly. This is moving at a specific frequency. It's fluctuations, of course, but the fluctuations are a result of the consciousness, right? So we're projecting our reality, co-creating this reality by projecting our consciousness out onto this matrix, this canvas. Let's say it's a canvas,
Yeah, I
right?
like the canvas
Yeah,
better.
it's a canvas. We're all painting this canvas together, and sometimes we paint ourselves into a dark hole. Sometimes
Right.
we're on a a gray plane of not too much interest. Sometimes we're on a roller coaster. But what I like to see, and what maybe 5D coming to 3D would be sort of this peace on earth, you know, would be something like this vibrant life, this like juicy, fun, peaceful, harmonious, synchronistic timeline of great joy. The age of Aquarius, as they say. You know, the 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 prophecy has foretold this time. And
Yeah.
we're here living it. You
We're
know,
here living it.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, we bought our tickets from the fifth dimension to
We're
come
taking the
here.
ride.
We take the yeah, buy the ticket, take the ride. Yeah, we're on it, man.
Yeah.
and and what a trip to be on it with you and to
Yeah.
see you, in these many different um sort of notes. We see you
Right.
here, we see you there, and we know you're doing your thing, but then when we come back together, we're there. It's beautiful. It's a rhythm that we create with people.
Yeah.
So that's really what we also want to do by going out and playing for people is or playing with people, I should say, because they are a part of it. And you'll see. I mean, everything from like we'll bring people up to dance to getting painted live to they'll literally hop on the drums for 4 hours and some for 5 minutes, some for you know just from the audience. But
The
anyhow,
co-creation.
yeah, it's a co-creation. But what we really want to do is create a rhythm with people in these communities. So like we played LA, San Francisco, Phoenix, San Diego, and Miami, of course, and Nevada City, California last year, right?
Mm.
And we're definitely going to go back to those places. And then create every time we come back, it's like a family reunion. plus all the new places. And you create this tradition and this reunion because as you build a rhythm with people, we're able to create music together, that may make art out of our lives. So that would be it too, is make your life into art. Now you don't have to necessarily paint to make your life into art, but we really just want everyone to be able to enjoy their life as much as possible. Yeah. And do what they
Yeah,
love
that's
to do.
well, I don't know your history as far as like your childhood and all that, but it seems to me, just from what I see, is that you've been an artist your whole life. And you seem to have like such a clarity around this 5D vision and version of yourself. And you're so much so that you've stepped into it and are living it into the embodiment that we see before us now. Like, where did that come from? How did you tap into that? And a lot of people, I think, if they have those inclinations or intuitions or messages, they don't often have the courage to step into it. And I'm that way too. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
on my journey where I'm at, and I've come a long way, but I'm not what you are. So how did you
No,
get to
but you're what you are.
I'm what you are? How did you get all of this together in a way that we see before us?
Well, that's barely held together, actually. It's somehow just being beamed in, sort of like in Star Trek when you beam me up, Scotty, you sort of materialize and then dematerialize. No, but for real, we're we're okay. This reminds me always. This is Morocco, by the way. He's a Maraca. Yeah.
There you go.
And he reminds me of childhood, of course, because it's one of my first toys was a maraca, little vibrational, reality checker,
Hmm.
And I think that when we come in to life, right, when we're really young, we're sort of like we're mostly that energy, right? And we come into the body and then we get integrated into the matrix and all these
The
conditions and
programming
the
and
programming
stories.
and all this.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And it's not all bad, but there's definitely some that's less pleasant than others. But anyhow, I do think that we come in as pure spirit, right? As pure 5D. And what happens then is over time we sort of forget, right? We come from the oneness, the unity consciousness, the 5D, and we come into this individual. We're told you're Jeff, you're John, you're Sarah, whatever, and that and in the moment you're Jeff, you're not Peter. You know, that's Peter. He's outside of you.
Yeah, right.
He's not you. You're Jeff. You're over there in that chair, and and Peter's over there on the other side of the classroom, right? Um, and that's fine because that's also part of this reality, is this illusion of separation. But when you think about it, even in that classroom, when you breathe out the air, Peter's breathing in the air you just had in you. So you're already sharing energy and physical matter. Anyhow, where was I coming to this sort of the oneness, it's a remembering. To answer your question, it's a matter of remembering. you
Hmm.
know. And I think I came in pure 5D Marzation, marsupial, as some people call me. When I was, a young marsupial, yeah, playing soccer and I used to have one of these, when carrying around in my little fanny pack when I was a kid. Always had headphones on, just a happy young boy mostly, running around with my little brother. But then, you kind of forget, okay, you have to, get a job, all these things and whatever. But
And
like,
you grew up in Canada, right?
yep, yep, in,
Toronto or
in a
something?
small town called Windsor. Yeah.
Windsor, that's right,
See,
Windsor.
I always like to remind people that I am from Mars because I do believe that was my last incarnation and I am a cosmic being. But when I incarnated, I came to Windsor. But the thing is, it's funny when people say, "Where are you from? Where are you from?" Well, I'm out of this world, man. We all are. We're all star seeds of
Sure.
some sort, right? But anyhow, over the progression of I mean, I've been a musician my whole life. I played violin when I was 3. Had one of these in my pocket all the time when I was a kid. But like, for many years, I was told that that's not a career, you know,
Right.
that's just something you do for fun, or maybe you become a teacher or whatever. But then I ended up joining a band when I was 18, and we played our first professional gig. Well, you never guess how much money we made for five guys playing a club. You go ahead, playing our own music.
$200.
Oh, that would have been great. No, we made $100, which is actually $20 each. Then I paid everybody out, and that was a moment. That was a moment we became professional. And it was ever since then that I was hooked on this idea that, oh, you can make a career out of something you love. And so in a way, I don't want to say chasing. I've been running down that road ever since,
Hmm.
and it took me on a path of lighting for a long time, which is beautiful because it's energy work, and it's like you hit a button and the lights flash just as the drummer's hitting or the singer's singing and the crowd's cheering. I mean, and I've been in the middle of rooms with like 50,000 people around me, and you hit a button and people just, it's insane, the power.
Yeah.
And the craziest part about that journey, that was almost 2 decades of that, was that most people had no idea who I was or that I even existed.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
just part of this experience. I'm going to see who's who, whatever, rapper, singer, what band, DJ. I'm going for that. I'm here for the music. They're in it. They don't really. Most people don't think about like, oh, there's somebody behind the lights.
Yeah.
Which
Back there in the lighting booth, just
it's like hidden.
making things happen.
Yeah, yeah, literally like creating the moments.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that led me into the circus because of the expressions. I had to play music again. It was so long that I hadn't played, and just kind of played behind the scenes. But then 2020 happened. It's like, well, I better get out and play. And so I went on the roof of the RV of the mothership in on the beach, started playing for people, and they're like, "Oh my God, live music! What happened? We
Yeah.
love it." So they would put their tips. That was our first fundraiser
Right.
for the Martian Circus, and and it built from there. Um, but yeah, I'm constantly reminded, actually, to go back to your question, of how to sort of like how does this develop? How does this yeah, I mean, we're always growing, right? And always finding our edges of where we need to expand further. You know,
Mm.
I would say that being married has really expanded my consciousness. My queen, the queen of Mars, Zara 5D. She and I have been growing together for 5 years now, and we run the Martian Circus together. And that has been the most consciousness expanding thing ever, to be
Yeah.
living and working with another being.
Yeah.
You could be perfectly zen on the top of a mountain, with a bit of couple of meditation courses in, you're fine. But try living with somebody who you
Yeah.
love. That really pushes you. And so we continue to grow every day together, and discover ourselves through dance, through art, through music, through conversation. I mean,
It's so beautiful to
yeah,
find a partner who shares that epic 5D vision and version of
yeah,
yourself. But
yeah.
I've seen her and you two together and interacting and all of that. It's like, it's such a particular thing. Like, how many people would be able to match that role with you
Ah,
and to go on that journey with you? I have
oh
a,
yeah, we're made for each other for sure. Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We
that's a huge thing.
we've had many lifetimes together on many different planets, also in other dimensions.
I
We've
bet.
had some trips together where we'll do eye gazing, we'll look at
Mhm.
each other and not speak for several minutes. And in that process, especially if you use a color changing light,
Mhm.
I can do that here. Let's see if we yeah, with a little scroll, right? And you'll start to see like the subtle changes in the color of my face.
Mhm.
If you do that, you'll end up seeing the morphing and you just tune in. I've seen her as like uh, basically like Avatar,
Mhm.
that type of creature. More some reptilian creatures, some grays, all kinds of different astral beings, Lyrans, and she'll see that in me. It's really, really well. So I'll turn into like a Neanderthal, all kinds of all kinds of different things.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've been through it. Yeah, this time, a lifetime, and many others.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible. Yeah, to
and
have
now we get to share it with people.
yeah, you get to share the
Share the
journey
love.
together and then
Yeah,
share it with other people
yeah.
and
That,
make an impact on everybody around you and
mm-hmm,
on the ultimately the evolution of consciousness. I
mm-hmm.
told you about a podcast that I heard not long after you and I started talking about doing this podcast, and it's called The Emerald is the name of the podcast. A guy named Joshua does it, and he had this
The green.
podcast about this idea of the trickster, and that there's
Ah,
always a trickster in the mix.
yeah.
Regardless of whatever polarity we're living in, or that your stories are driving you towards, and however stable you feel like that story is going to be, and how much it makes sense for humanity or your version of it or whatever of reality in the moment, that there's always this trickster in the middle that's sort of playing with all of the ideas, and it's usually like an artist. It's like an artist or someone who has an alternative view, or some entity that has an alternative view that they're bringing to the table to sort of snap you out of it and say, no, this is the way the world evolves, is through this duality.
Mm,
And that
yep.
if we're stuck in one thing too long, even if it's good, it doesn't have
Yeah.
anything to do with positive or negative or anything like that, or any kind of taking a side. The trickster's always there, and so it seemed like you're playing that role
Oh
for
yeah.
humanity, in whatever way, and that you are that trickster showing up in these stories that people have, and just showing up wherever you are. Sometimes if it's at a festival, obviously whoever is attending that festival knows that they're going there to have an experience. But if you just show up at the beach and somebody's just walking along in their own stories in their own day, and then you show up, like their mind is going to be shifted in
Oh
some way,
yeah.
right? And so then he mentioned in that podcast about the merry pranksters back in
Mm,
the 60s. And
inspiring. Yeah.
yeah, and Ken Kesey and had the bus, right? And you had the
Yes.
RV, and he
Yeah.
painted it, he called it forward, or yeah, further, I think
The
was the name
further
of the
bus.
bus.
Yeah. Yeah.
The further
Yeah.
bus. And that's
That's
what
definitely inspiring. Yeah.
led to the Grateful Dead. It led
Uh-huh.
to all of these other things, historical things, and a movement of
Consciousness
consciousness
expansion. Yeah.
that we're still playing out today,
Yeah.
And it's like, here we are with Marz5D. He's playing that role. He and Zara are kind of playing that role. How do you feel about that? I
We're,
mean, that's just kind of the way I saw it. Like,
the
how,
torch.
what
The
is that?
torch is
The torch has been
It's
passed.
been passed. That's how it feels. From many of these greats, and then the ripple. The portal was, say, opened then, and we're here to open it further.
The merry pranksters.
Yeah. I
They were the merry pranksters, and you're the Martian circus.
Martian circus. Yeah.
Right.
We're here to remind you that you're living in a circus.
Yeah.
That we're all Martians of some kind from somewhere and something. Even the dust that you're made of is from everywhere.
Right.
We're all connected.
Yeah.
Um, well, uh, so the jester's is very special. In fact, if you can see back there on the drums, I've got a jester hat. You can see it right there.
Uh-huh. Right.
It's ready to go at all times. The jester for me has shown up as a being called Balagoshe, which also in Martian can be a greeting. So I'll give you one now, and you could do this at home if yeah. You touch your head, right, and you go Balagoshe, and with your hands out. It's sort of like a bow. It's a slight
Right.
bow, Balagoshe, and it's sort of it's a greeting. I recognize that we're all God and playing a trick on ourselves, that we're separate, and I see you as part of myself.
Right.
It's sort of that, many masks, one being. Um,
Right.
But the balagoshe really is like that jester, the court jester, that trickster, that cosmic joker. Something will
Mhm.
happen to you, and you go, oh, that sucks, and then you go, wait a minute, how is this working in my benefit? How is this just a trickster pushing things along for me, helping me see another perspective? And then it will lead you like breadcrumbs, right? It'll lead you down a new path. You were headed there, but then you get thrown this curveball, and you're like, oh, that sucks. But wait a minute, give it a second. Where is this leading me? Is this actually better for me? And then you find out it usually is,
Usually
right?
is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Even if it
trickster is
doesn't
like the
seem
monkey
that way in the
wrench.
short term. Yeah. Even if it's a little painful on the short term.
Oh yeah, and it often is.
It
Oh
often.
yeah. I mean, we've been building this starship, right? And it's something simple like putting an awning on. Sounds easy, right? Oh yeah, we'll just a few bolts, we'll put it. It's taken weeks. Put the frame and then you do this and the glue and this and you're just like, "Oh, well, okay. What is happening here? It's a timing. It's a patience learning. It's alignment. I mean, you think about this. You I want the whole planet to be in this planet-wide peace and love and cosmic connection and joy. And right now, this is sort of the anomaly. Let's say
Mhm.
this is 0.001% of the world right now. Okay. That's a big shift to go from that to planet-wide that. So it's a big manifestation I'm asking for, right? Or creating. So it might take some time. So I have to be patient with the timing of that. So the more things you sort of want to align, sometimes it takes time for them. It's not that they're not aligning; they're aligning. In fact, don't you love when when you're surprised by how the alignments happen?
Yeah, for
This
sure.
person and that person, and you're like, oh wait, you guys know each other, and then this whole thing. It's beautiful how it all
Well,
comes
and
together,
the
right?
good news is that you don't have to have 100%, right? I think
You don't
the
need all the answers right away. No.
simplest point is, I think, from what I've heard in statistics, it's like 10%. If you get 10%, then things start to shift at a much at more exponential rate, right?
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
I've heard some things about consciousness actually that if you can get 1% of the world to meditate,
right.
that the rest will follow suit. It'll sort of like it'll cause a shift, much like the 100th monkey principle. Do you know about? Of course,
I don't
I'm
know
sure.
100 monkey.
If you teach 100 monkeys something, now all of a sudden all monkeys everywhere know it, right? You
So
know what?
is it more like a shared consciousness thing?
Yeah, yeah, it
Okay,
is
got it.
within species. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. One monkey learns to work a tool, not much happens. He teaches another one, not much happens. But by the time you get to the 100th monkey, all of a sudden they're doing it on the other side of the world. You
right.
know that yeah, and that kind of like mass shift in consciousness is sort of like I don't even know. It's a resonance thing. It's a matter of there needs to be enough mass of it.
Yeah,
Enough potency.
enough of us monkeys learning new things.
Yeah, exactly. And here's a new thing, It's an old
Yeah.
thing, but it's a new thing. And the goal here, even with all this colorful vibration and movement, is just to remind you of unity consciousness, where you came from
Hmm.
before you came to Earth, before
Yeah.
we came to this gray matrix. We were living in the flower, basically. Talk about
Well, the
flower power.
telepathy thing has come up.
Oh yeah,
There's another podcast called the Telepathy Tapes.
yeah.
And they,
Oh, waves, yeah.
yeah, it's a they focus on nonverbal autistics, and they
Oh, very
found that
interesting.
they
Yes,
connect telepathically
yes.
in wherever they do this. They call it the hill, and they all go and meet
Yes,
a
they
hundred
meet
of
at the
them at a
hill.
time. Yeah, it's really
Incredible.
it's
Yeah, so
incredible.
they're traveling astrally in
Yeah.
the fourth and
And
fifth
they can speak
dimension.
other languages and they
Yeah,
can decipher hieroglyphics and they go to this library with all like
the
ancient
Akashic records.
library like the Akashic records. One kid can put his hand on a book and summarize it, like all kinds of things.
Read the book with your hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me we're not living in some kind of matrix. You know.
I mean, yeah, well, it's a canvas as we said
Yeah, it's
before,
a
right?
canvas.
It's a
I
canvas
like
with
calling it.
we're all just co-creating, and
Yeah.
we're painting onto it
Painting it.
whatever our beliefs and perceptions are in the moment. And I believe that,
Hmm.
and I think that's really what it is. It's what do you truly believe internally? And that's what is projected to get the
The
reflection that you're
reflection. Yeah.
getting, and that's what you're seeing. And so some
Yeah.
part of me believes everything that you're doing. And so the reflection right now is you sitting in front of me, because
Yeah.
where you are is, some part of me has a belief that that's possible and true.
In a way, I'm one of your branches, and
Right.
you're one of mine.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And how beautiful that we're on this family tree, as they say. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, beautiful, and that's why we want to have the family reunions everywhere we go. The Martian
Hmm.
family reunions, because
Yeah.
when you see an old friend like this, right? There's no time passed. You know,
Yeah.
I like to say it's sort of
From
like,
that first day at Perch
yeah,
when we connected. Yeah. It's like no time has passed. We just pick it up where
it's
we left
wonderful.
off.
I can even just flash back there in that elevator, And what a great metaphor also for ascension, an elevator. I mean, how fun,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
the funny thing about ascension is it's not straight up. Sometimes you have to get off, switch elevators, take the stairs, you know, maybe go back underground for a while, it's
Indeed.
it's sort of
Indeed.
like this, sort of like these vibrations here.
Yep.
Um I want to if I could we talk about darkness for a second?
Of course. I
You
think
know,
that's one of the things that was coming alive for me too when you were talking about 5D and Ascension a few minutes ago, is that a lot of people, I think, they want to skip the darkness. They want to go straight from 3 to 5. Well, the 4D, that's the messy part.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
please.
The time. Well, for me, 4D is the time, but some people will describe the astral realm as 4D as well. But anyhow, we're talking about the growth that takes place, right? So many people, and myself included, often have to go to like the bottom, right, in order to see the edge of the tank. Let's say your consciousness is like a physical thing, right? Like it's a real amount of space, a finite amount. You're in a little fish, like an aquarium, right? If you don't ever go to those edges, you'll never even know they exist, first of all.
That's right.
And then if you and then if you don't know they exist, then you can't push them further, right? So when I was 35, was it 35? No, when I was 30. 30. So it's like a Saturn return, kind of close Saturn return. So this is 10 years ago now. Yeah, 30 years on Earth. We threw a party, 30 years on Earth. But before the party, on my actual birthday, I had reached my lowest consciousness point. Super depressed, just felt trapped, like just like didn't even really want to be on Earth anymore. I was like, I want to get out of here, And in a way, I did. I went back to Mars. Um,
Exactly.
but I felt like I had to go there, you know? I had to go to that edge. I literally remember looking at the concrete, on the sidewalk in Windsor, looking at Detroit. And at the time, I couldn't cross the border. And I looked at Detroit. I looked at the temple there, the big glass Renaissance Center. Have you been down there? Just
Hmm.
a huge edifice, a modern day temple. I looked at that and I somehow I felt like I channeled the energy of it and used that as a potent like self-affirmation of like, I don't ever want to feel this way anymore. Ever.
Right.
I don't I've been to the bottom. I don't need to go there again. And so I did, and I made this affirmation, and boom, from that day on, like step by step, I started feeling better and started surrounding myself with community. And then we did the parties. Really, the parties, to be honest, the parties, I think, are where so much of the healing happens. When you're in a room of people, you're like, oh fuck. I said funk, by the way. Yeah, I'm not bleep. Um, you're like, I'm not alone in this,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's gonna be okay. And there's music, and
And
there's dancing, and there's smiling, and
there's
there's
light.
And there's love and there's light. Yeah, literally light. Yeah. Unless you're in a dark rave in LA with a, or Detroit with a strobe light. I mean, there's light too there. Yeah. But
Right.
actually those are great examples too, is you go to a dark hole, a little strobe light, maybe a little candle light, and you just dance it out. I mean, that's the best healing, the
Yeah.
best
When
therapy.
I met you, I was in a pretty dark place too. That was the lowest part of
Amazing.
life, and that
Wow.
was the
Met you on the ground
catalyst,
floor.
a catalyst for my own awakening was
Yes.
happening there in 2014, 15, 16, and 17. Really, those
Yeah.
were very difficult years for me,
Yeah.
and it has been a huge transformation of being able to get on the other side of it and just be way more grateful. And it's like you said, where you have the tank, it's like I can only, I guess I have this story that I can only experience as much joy and happiness as I've experienced sadness, to see that duality, feel
Ah, to
that duality,
balance.
embody that
Yeah.
duality,
Hmm.
and to find the gratitude for that, and to
Yeah.
be able to forgive myself and forgive everything, every person and everything around me that happened, and understand and recognize the lessons that have come from that, and yeah, just the gratitude for being where I am in my life today.
Hmm.
So I can't skip that messy, dark 4D space.
Yeah.
The only way out is through. So
Yep.
let's go. And when those things come up, it's not it's not something that I'm going to avoid or bypass. It's something
Yeah.
that I'm going to lean into. And
Yeah.
now more than ever, I guess it's a little bit easier to do that because I understand the process. I've got decades of experience
Hmm.
in life, and
Yeah.
understanding that is really the universe providing the catalyst for the future version of myself. Because if there's no
Mm.
catalyst for growth, you're not going to grow. And I'm here for
Yep.
evolution,
Yep.
So
Yep.
let's go.
You might say that the jester planted these seeds along the way for you. The
Right.
cosmic jester, the balagoshe, you know,
Marche.
these little these buttons to push, these you're say you're climbing a rock. He's giving you a little handle, you know, here and there to just kind of help pull yourself along. That's great that you have had these realizations, because I think we're stubborn sometimes, and it takes a few times of falling in the hole to realize there was even a hole, you know.
Right. Well,
And we don't learn the
those
lesson the first time always.
comfort zones are very comfortable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We love to be
Dark
comfortable.
as they are, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
as
yes.
dark
Well,
as
the
they
ego,
are.
like the 3D mind, the ego mind will say, yes, it's comfortable with complacency, and it would rather be miserable and know what that miserable sort of pocket is,
Right.
rather than get outside and go meet some new people and maybe face some rejection, you know, in order to make new friends, so you have to kind of get out of that mindset, break those loops. It's funny. I've got this loop here. You know,
Hmm.
for me, if we could lean that into the psychedelic experience, which, my God, this whole life is a psychedelic experience if you think about that. Um, but the psychedelic experience that you can look, you can get that. That's just the door to 5D.
Right.
There are many keys, many doors. For many people, it's meditation, and for me, it was as well. Um, but dance is probably the most potent
Hmm.
key to 5D. Um, but psychedelics as well have provided lots of
You mentioned that
insights.
before, and I didn't
Yeah,
close the loop on it, where you
yeah.
said a lot of healing comes in those spaces.
Yes, yes.
So
In the parties.
right after I met you, or not long after, I started doing more ecstatic dance.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
2018 was a big psychedelic year for me.
Hmm.
Lots of healing there, and just started entering these more communal spaces, sort of like festival type spaces and all of
Yes.
that. And I've experienced extraordinary healing being in that communal experience, as you said, with
Hmm.
others who are kind of like, hey, we're in this together. Like, that's been very, very healing. And I continue on that path.
Yes.
Certainly 2018, 19, 20, and 21 were big, big years for all of that. Yeah, for sure.
Those are the bubbles of sort of consciousness that we get into together in resonance,
Right.
right? This so we can sort of get a bath of 5D energy, you
Hmm.
know. We can go back into the world on Monday, into the 3D world or whatever, and we're gonna get dirty again maybe. But then we got to come back to the bath, the 5D bath, and come back into
Cleanse
like
ourselves off.
cleanse ourselves. Dirt is great. We need to grow out of the dirt, right? Um, but we got to keep clean too. So it's a process,
They
Um,
call it spiritual hygiene.
yes, yes,
Right.
exactly. So
Mm.
daily yoga, been doing that now for a decade, thankfully.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Started that in LA.
I did it for about 3 years when I
Yeah.
first started having like all my personal challenges and everything. It was the only thing that saved me. A mentor of
Mhm.
mine, I went to coffee with him, and I saw that he's a big business guy, and I was having coffee with him, and I said, I saw him in Facebook and whatnot, where he would go cross country travel and whatever. First thing he's doing is in a yoga class, and I'm like,
Awesome. Yeah.
what is that? And he's like,
Oh,
he said, it's the most important thing I do every day. And I'm like, he's a very successful guy. I'm like, the most
yeah.
important thing you do every day. And he's like,
Wow.
I give it a shot. So I
Yeah.
started doing it.
Get a
And
dose.
before that, I literally had such a disconnect from anything like that. I didn't even call it yoga. I called it stretching on a mat. Like that's how disconnected from
Yeah,
yoga.
which is maybe
And
step one. Yeah.
yeah, from that moment on, I was hooked for like
Yes.
years, and then I started more of a passive stretching practice after that because I had some shoulder issues just from going so hard for so long. But
Oh, limits.
talk about like crying on a mat and all that. 1,000 classes, I was back there bawling my head off,
Oh,
transmuting so much of the
yes.
trauma and energy that was trapped in my nervous system.
Yes. And probably a lot of it isn't even yours. You
Yeah,
picked up over the
absolutely.
years, even
I know a lot of it was,
family.
but
Yeah, I'm
probably
sure
a
a
lot
lot of
of
it was. And if
it.
you're holding on to it, it's definitely yours.
Right.
It's yours now. It might not have been yours in the originally,
Yeah,
you
there
know,
you go. There you go.
but
Yeah,
it's
I took
ours.
ownership
It's
of it. Yeah.
ours, as
Right.
a collective,
Right.
in this
But
in
my
this
my God, the
circus.
healing that came from that experience was incredible.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's these are great tools, much like this is a tool for sound and a tool
Right.
for joy. These are tools for tuning our being, right? Our system, our sort of like lubing up the robot. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Making sure you got oil in the joints, in
Yep.
the actuators.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
I'm being called to do a little light language.
Yeah,
Could I
let's
do it?
go.
Yeah.
Of course.
Um, if I'd love if you could prompt just like a one word intention, and then I'll bring something in for it.
A one word intention, I
Yeah.
would say transformation.
Hokala vosera vayara bola. Olovona boloskora vayara. Okay, I can translate for that. Boloskona vayara is when we come together and we travel. So when I say travel, it's like taking a trip. Like we're moving in energy, not necessarily physically getting on a bus and going places together,
Right.
but also that. Balaskona vayara, voloshena valazora. We can really zoom off together, but when the farther you go out, the more you come in. So if you've gone on a journey with someone, then and especially if you've gone places, you actually coming further into yourself, right? And so by doing that, we're able to sort of like an onion regrow from the inside out, right? That's the only real way to grow. It's from the inside out because the outer layer dies off, a bit like
Hmm.
the snake skin, but you have to grow from the inside, right?
Right.
So what one of the beautiful ways that my guides, the Martian Circus, really is who I'm channeling, which is like a spirit team, right? Of extra dimensionals, extraterrestrials, um, all different aspects of my being. the different branches of my higher self, my 5D self. They're offering sort of this message of that the transformation comes from well, one tool for transformation is to come together and trip. And when I say trip, it doesn't necessarily mean on psychedelics,
Right.
but it does mean having a psychedelic experience, which is now reminding me and prompting me to remind people that when they come to the Martian Circus, they don't need to be on anything to be on something. What I mean is, you don't need to take any pill or mushroom or any kind of substance in order to have a psychedelic experience. You come here, you get immersed in the art, you get around the other people, you hear the music, the literal vibrations of the music, and your energy field, which is your aura, which can be measured. You're a walking battery.
Yeah.
Really, you're the energy inside it and the battery all at once. But that frequency raises. And when you raise your frequency, you get high. So being high almost has nothing to do with drugs and everything to do with your frequency.
Right.
The substances are a catalyst for your frequency to raise.
They allow us to, well, for those who are able to surrender those barriers, walls, and I guess the parts of ourselves that we're often unable to let go, or unwilling to let go, I should say.
Yes, yes, and what wonderful reminders of who we've been to help us become who we truly want to be. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get messages from your future self or send any forward?
Oh yeah, all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got? Maybe
Yeah.
we'll send one now even.
I mean, I've had multiple experiences. I went through a phase of a couple of years where light language was pretty prevalent for me.
Ah.
That Kundalini awakening at the end of 2019,
Mm-hmm.
the end of 2019, and light language started coming through at that time. And it was, I believe that a lot of the physical movement that was happening was it was really energy coming through and bouncing off of the distortions in my chakras and my nervous system. That's kind of the
Ah.
way I understand it. That's
Yes.
why there was
Yes.
so much like it was wild, man.
Yeah. No. Totally.
So
You're
eventually that kind of
harmonizing.
like it kind of died out. But
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of times during that phase of my life where I could just like when I was in meditation, I would just like have this inclination to just kind of like roll over and do like a side stretch, and my
Mm-hmm.
whole spine would just go like ridiculous releases. You know, it was like
Whoa.
decalcifying my sacral chakra,
Yep.
believe,
Yep.
you know, and my
Did
pineal, you know.
Did you have any convulsions or any kind of
Oh yeah,
spasms? Yeah. Yeah.
oh
Same.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I often get. Yeah.
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 But it kind of has passed over the
Okay.
past couple of years. Like I still go into those states at times when I'm in deep meditation, but
Yeah. But
it used to be every single day. You know, it was pretty wild for a few years.
so I would probably I interpret that like you've integrated that energy,
Integrated it.
right? Is that a good sort
Yeah.
of
I mean, I think I have. I mean, I'm definitely a lot more grounded and
Mhm.
far more embodied in
Uh-huh.
my ways of being than I
Yeah.
ever was before. And I think that's as a result of that. I think it's still there. I'm not saying like I'm okay, I'm at the end, I'm enlightened or something. It's not like
Well,
that. It's like there's some integration that took place from those more profound um distortions that I had stuck in my nervous system is kind of the way I interpret it.
yeah. Hmm. And I believe that when you have these convulsions and these spasms or whatever, that that's a result of moving a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So sort of to get you in resonance, there was a lot of energy pushed through.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're there in a way. Of course, we're always evolving, but
Always more.
there's less needed to keep
Right.
the tank full, you know?
Right.
Just
Right.
just
And
you're
and I had those experiences on medicine too. Like
yeah,
I said, 2018 was a big medicine year for me, and
yep.
for
Same.
ayahuasca, it was just like, I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
it was great, crazy.
It's not to be taken lightly, that's for sure.
Yeah, that is for sure. Yeah,
Um, but what it does help is it helps anchor in your light, these
yeah,
experiences, right?
hmm
Because we are light beings beaming
yeah.
in, right? With
Well,
these
and
distortions.
when you have those experiences, when you have them naturally and you're not really seeking them,
Hmm.
they just happen, then there's an inner knowing that this is real. It's not just like me fabricating this in my mind or something like that.
Yes, yes,
Then there's a lot greater reverence for it. At least that's what I experience. Much greater
yes.
reverence for it. And then it's like, yeah, there's just a reverence for energy in general, for the connection that I have to expansive energy, 5D consciousness, ancestral energy, all of
Hmm.
that stuff.
Hmm.
It's just so real. It makes it so real.
Yes. For me, when I started getting into this, it was almost like, I mean, this is why they call it like being like reborn or it's rebirth and there's the phoenix energy, all of that. You almost like it's almost like you came into the attic, right?
Mm.
You poked your head out in the attic and you're like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't even know this was here.
Right,
All this time I've been living on the main floor. I had no idea we had an attic, and it's huge.
right.
It's like 100 times bigger than the whole house. Um, and it's a blank canvas, and you get to build it. Um,
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating for
you know,
sure.
some people see synchronicity in numbers.
Hmm.
Um, I first started to see it. Of course, bringing up more of LA energy. When I moved into a building and the address was 111 Main Street in downtown.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. And I kept seeing it all over the place. And back then I was pretty like 3D, like, what do you mean? There can't be anything to that. There's no magic. What is that? That doesn't make any sense. How could numbers mean anything? Well, when it was in my face all the time, I had to start paying attention and
Mhm.
start tuning into what was happening, and things were lining up beautifully. I felt like I was in a movie, you know. I mean, obviously we are. We're the lead
Right,
character and the director and at least the assistant director, I guess, maybe.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced a lot of synchronicity too. When I was not long after I met you, I moved to Dana Point, and
Ah,
I didn't know how long I was going to be able to live there. I was like it was at Salt Creek, like 5 minute walk from the beach. I'm like, I'm going to take advantage.
beautiful.
So I was like down there every single day, swimming in the water and the whole
Ah,
yard. It was beautiful. And there was about a
beautiful.
3 month period where every time I went down there, there were feathers in my path. Like I just pick them up and bring them back home. I had like dozens
Yeah.
and dozens of feathers from that time period. And then rocks. My father was a geologist, and I
Ah,
never,
okay.
I never felt a lot of connection to it when I was younger. And then when I, left home, I've been all over the world. I didn't have any way to like carry a box of rocks with me, so I have some of his stuff now. My mom
Hmm.
gave me recently, but when I was in Dana Point, I started like connecting. Like there's 1,000 rocks on the beach, right? I'm
Yeah.
walking along, and this one rock is just starts glimmering, like pick
Shit. Yeah.
me
Like
up.
it's talking to you. Yeah.
It's like it's talking to me. And so I
Yeah.
take it home and, I'm like putting it on my body when I'm meditating, and it's like
Mm.
eating or in some way causing some of those reactions that I was having and releases and things like that. So there's a lot of those kinds of synchronicities. And then I
That's
got more
beautiful.
into crystals, and,
Yep.
they're
That
just
probably led you into crystals, right?
led
That
me
that
into
rock.
crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
is your father in 3D still?
no, he
No.
he passed. He would have been
Five.
100 years old last week. He passed in
Wow.
1993, but he would have been 100
Oh,
years old. Yeah.
celebrate his energy field and
Uh,
his spirit coming in and visiting you in the form of a rock.
Yep.
How how beautiful.
Yeah.
What a
So
great
I
way
kind
to
of picked up, I
communicate.
kind of picked it up where he left off, and
Yeah.
then Robert Grant, who passed away recently of the Vesica Institute, he
Yes. Yes.
crystals as an ancient library of vibration. So that's kind of the way
Hmm.
I see them too, is like
Yeah.
they're kind of like a vibrational frequency held in at a specific state via the
Yeah.
crystal itself.
It's
And
like a
people,
snapshot of that frequency.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's
And
like a
people,
CD.
it's like a CD. And
Yeah.
people don't really connect to crystals very much. Like, oh, that sounds really woo-woo. It's like,
Yeah.
well,
Woo!
your phone is crystalline technology.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Your
Your
TV,
watch. Yeah.
all the things, it's all crystalline technology. It's all silicon crystal.
Yeah.
We're literally it's transferring information all over the world.
Yeah.
Nobody can live without it. And but if I hold up a crystal, they're like, that sounds really woo woo.
As they look at you through a liquid crystal display.
Right.
Right?
It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
Uh, oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Great tools. I mean, yes, yes, I do believe this is ancient technology, you know, that's been around since there's, not been a place to be had, you know,
Yeah.
that that we're just sort of maybe we're the offspring of these crystals, you
Yeah.
know, maybe we're
Well, I
well,
mean, half of my friends, if they knew how many crystals I owned, I don't know.
they tease you.
Yeah, probably.
Well, we may or may not be the offspring of crystals, but I definitely think we're the offspring of mushrooms. You
Right.
know, if you like, if especially if you're a male and you look at the parts you have, I mean, that's definitely a mushroom there. You know, as a
For
as a
sure.
segue, have you heard of I'm sure you have, but your viewers may or may not have heard of this concept called panspermia.
I don't think I've heard of that. Panspermia.
It's a if you can imagine the universe like a big petri dish, right?
Hmm.
Teeming with life, okay? As opposed to the vacuum that the status quo will tell you that we're all alone in the universe, basically. We haven't found any
Right.
proof, fine.
There's nothing else out there.
But we've explored nothing out of everything. So, you've gone to the beach, you've looked at one grain of sand, and you said, "Oh, well, there's nobody living here." Anyhow, um, the panspermia theory has to do with the seeding of life from microbes and mycelium riding on not rockets because that's not very energy efficient, but riding on asteroids and comets, and then
Mm,
hitting planets and starting seeding life that way. If you think about like, if for example, if humanity in the next 1,000 years, right, we start to propagate in the solar system, we start to propagate into the galaxy, right? We're
right.
going to send out ships, we're going to send out whatever, and we're going to like plant seeds on these planets. Like that's great. But the way they show it in these sci-fi movies with these giant ships and everything, that's all very expensive. It's
Yeah.
great. But like what would a modern day ark be? It'd probably be like DNA samples in these
Right.
banks, right? Well, nature's done all that. The same way
Right.
an egg delivers a beautiful nutritional packet and a beautiful packaging um, what would you call that? Safe to travel in, but yet easy enough to crack open. Like it's all perfect, you know?
Right.
The mushroom has developed a way to get around and to propagate life, you know? And that's again, I'll lead back to this, the Martian Circus. It's sort of this realization that we're part of this system, this circuit, this great show, this this of characters throughout the cosmos that are growing and interacting, and it should. I feel when you realize it's all a show, and you're reminded of that, because I have to remind myself even, it becomes more fun.
Hmm.
You can
Yeah.
take you don't
You
take things
realize
as
it's a game.
seriously.
It's a
It's a
show
game,
versus
it's a
game.
show, it's part
Yeah.
you're an actor, you're a spectator sometimes, but you, yeah, I mean, look at this character I am now. I mean,
Hmm.
you're a character as well. You're God, in a mask, that's called Jeff Howell, right?
Yeah. Right.
And even, So just this realization that we're all in this together. We're all part of one great circus, you know, and sort of it's an invitation to be your character, to be your
Yeah.
main character, you know,
Yeah.
and come
To be
play,
yeah, come play. Be the
be the you.
following the dharma that you've been given
Uh,
instead of the programming that you've been
yeah.
that's been placed upon you.
Yeah, and I will let me just add to been given when I would suggest that you gave it to yourself
Right.
as a soul, as a 5D
Right.
soul.
Right. Right.
It was
Yeah.
like it's like who you are, you know,
Right.
at your core. And you came here to kind of forget that for a while, yeah, and expand and all these things, have the experience of sadness and you know, angers and joy and love and separation and all this. But just just um just bring it back and
Yeah. Well, with that being said, where is the next level of expansion for Marz5D and the Martian Circus? You mentioned this stage that you're going to be traveling around with. I'd love to
yes,
join you at one of those shows, but what do you think
absolutely.
for the next evolution of what you're doing, your art, what the impact that you're making on the community, the invitation that you have on the people who
Mm.
see you and see your show and actually co-create your world with you? Where's that going right now? Where do you see that going?
Well, I believe that if anyone is listening to this now, then they are already a part of it, you know.
Hmm.
All of the moments in consciousness evolution that you've experienced as an individual have led you to this moment. So we are clearly meant to be stepping together on some level. Now, that may or may not mean that everyone who's listening now will be on our dance floor, but they are definitely part of this game. You know, this great show of the circus, of the soul circus of the universe. Um, I calling ours the Martian Circus. But if we could say that in the most in our ideal scenario of the evolution of this, um, we would be dancing together in 3D, but also in 5D. So here's the thing: if you listen to our music now, which you can look up Martian Circus on any platform, and you can start downloading that music literally like onto your device, but then download it into your being by listening to it,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Intentionally, right?
Tap in.
Those songs are a cosmic download of the fifth dimension that we've done, and they're there for you. Like, yes, they've been healing for us and they're beautiful for us, but the real juice of it is gonna come when you squeeze it. Okay, the juice of life by listening and dancing. If you're not into dancing, you want to just lay back and listen to Sound of Creation, which is a very blissful track we just released this year. Um, you know, that's the most beautiful way that you can get a taste of what we're offering here. We're here sharing our gifts, right, with the world. And what we really want is people to receive them and make them their own and then continue to share their gifts, you know? So we're dancing at home. We're dancing together at the shows, right? And you were participating by people can order a piece of art, clothing or painting, or I mean, we have all kinds of things. I mean, Morocco, uh, is just an artifact that one of the artifacts that you know, we have. I mean, 5D water. I mean, come on now, we're programming our water. Literally, I've been
Yeah, you
drinking
must.
the water there. Just like a CD, it is liquid crystal, and we're programming it with consciousness. So, um,
I'll link all this up in the description to
yeah,
the video as well to make sure
yeah.
that people can find you.
MartianCircus.com would be a good starting
Martian
point.
Circus.
We're embarking on the 5D tour, right? We
Hmm.
started it last year with those 7 cities we did, and now this year we are going to get on our starship, our 5D starship, and we're coming to every town we can in on the mainland of North America uh, for now with this vehicle. We'll
Nice.
be rolling up. We'll pop open the stage and have a bit of an invasion, a welcomed invasion of the Martian circus in your heart, you know. We'll, get the families together, the Martian family reunions that
There
happen.
you go.
It might be in a park, it might be in an alley, might be at your favorite cafe. It might be anywhere that I've never even imagined. It might be on a bridge somewhere.
Right.
Um, and that's really what we want to do.
When does this tour launch?
As soon as possible.
As soon as we got it done.
We thought it was going to be 2 months ago, and the Bala Gaucher gave us a trickster play and threw this vehicle in front of us, and that's been further development. And so we're gonna be coming to you as soon as possible. Definitely this summer, fall, and beyond. Um, and if you're not in North America and want to see us, let us know. Please reach out on social media, Martian Circus on Instagram, especially Facebook, a little bit on TikTok, a little bit on YouTube as well. And let us know where you are and where you want to see us. But please tune in. We've got videos from our shows. The more that you receive, the more we give. The more we give, the more you receive. It's got to be a circuit. A
Yeah.
circus is a circuit. That's in
Right.
fact what they call it, right? A circus isn't meant to stay in one place. It's a
Yeah.
traveling
That's
show.
true.
So that's
That's
why we
true.
have ours on wheels now,
There you
right?
go.
On our Starship. So we're going to be making a circuit of these family reunions. We're calling it the 5D tour, and we hope to see you there.
Yeah. Well, I'll be looking out for the tour dates and the
Oh
city
yeah,
and all of that, and I'll definitely attend as many as I possibly can.
funk, yes. You're
Yeah.
in Houston now, but you're based
I,
in Austin,
I'm,
right?
yeah, I live just
Yeah.
north of Austin. Yep.
We will certainly be in Austin. Yeah, it's one of my favorite places. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
on this planet. Yeah.
We'll connect on that. Marz5D, it's been amazing catching up with you on this episode
Yes.
of Epic Mind Visions. I could talk to you for hours. You are just a brother from the same dimensions, and definitely resonate with
Absolutely.
you a lot, and have really enjoyed following you and seeing your art and the way it's progressed over the years, and look forward to more and seeing you in the 3D realms and beyond. Thank you again for joining us. I'll link everything up in the description to the video. Any final thoughts? Anything you wished I asked that I didn't? Anything you'd like to
Hmm.
say that you haven't said?
I hope that today is your day, and I hope that we can come together now because it's more important and potent than ever. The energy the frequency of the planet is raising, and our consciousness is expanding at an exponential rate. So there's an invitation now to get on the 5D wave and become who you really are. You know, the you, the more you. We're not over here asking you to. You don't need to put on neon glasses to be you, but if you want to, you can. You know, we just want everyone to be themselves at their best. You know, and that's what the Martian Circus really is. It's it's
Yeah.
who we are when we come together and we're at our best. You know, so we we welcome you to it, and we hope that you all have just a beautiful time on this planet while we're here, for a short.
Well, thank you so much for being a lighthouse for that message and an inspiration for others to become more of themselves. Sending you and your lovely bride so much love, and I look forward to seeing you in 3D soon.
Yes, and you are loved. Don't forget that. You are loved.
You are as well.
Take
Peace,
care.
brother.
Peace.